There's three main things that you want to do as a yoga teacher, a wellness professional that are going to actually get you out of burnout and out of a rat race. Hi, and welcome to Be Create Inspire, where we focus on growth, self-development, and obviously making our lives healthier, happier, and wealthier. I'm Ari, and today I want to teach you exactly the pathway to increasing not only your sales, but also doing it in a way that's with high profit margins. You guys know I talk about this a lot. It's like leaving more money in your pocket and doing it in a way that actually feels really good and that's aligned to your strengths and values. So for the last 15 years, I've been doing retreats, and these retreats have really changed the way that I've been perceived as a leader, as a guide in my industry. And I want to talk to you about how you get to leading a retreat, because sometimes we think, oh, just put a retreat in the books and voila, people will come. So I'm really going to dictate my 3 path pillars that are like stepping stones. And it's going to be for online and offline. One thing I want you to understand is that when we talk about online business, this has 2 parts to it. One is online marketing, and the other part is delivering your services online. So today we're going to focus on the online marketing, and that way you can deliver your services offline, like when it comes to a retreat or an immersion. Now, when I tell you guys this, I want you to look deep within yourselves and ask yourselves these 3 questions. 1, do I consider myself a professional? Meaning you do what you do. Maybe it's part-time, but more like full-time, and you've been doing it for long enough that you're not a rookie anymore. Okay, so check. Number 2 is, do you like to lead and plan? If that's you, then you're in the right place. Check. And number 3 is, do you feel comfortable creating larger priced programs? And if this is like, I don't know what you mean, Ari, meaning you are okay with putting out a $1,500, $3,000, $3,500 item price point. Okay, if that's you, you're in the right place. Because honestly, those are the 3 things that you need in order to start generating higher revenue. And here's the thing with retreats. I always talk about pros and cons because we want that profit, right? We want to focus on the net. So retreats, they do have a high cost. But what I do is that I help you do it in a way that doesn't keep you tied to potentially losing money, because that's what it happens to most people, is that you guys are, putting together a retreat and you're working with the retreat center and you're like, yes, I want to book out 10 rooms. And for whatever reason, and I say this because from a place of wisdom, of experience, not from a place of, oh, this could happen. Like, shit happens. So for example, if you got sick for whatever reason and you couldn't market, and right, or you had something happening in your family, in your life, and you had to take attention away and you couldn't market and network the way that you like. And so you get lower numbers, but then you've signed a contract with a retreat center booking out 10 rooms and you're liable for those 10 rooms. This is what I want to avoid, right? So I want to teach you this in a way that feels really safe. Look, at the Yoga Expo, right? This event has huge liabilities. I have to rent out a convention center, run ads, get, the decorators. Like, there's so many high priced items in this expo that it's a high liability, yes, high profit business. And, we have to be ninjas when we're planning and, looking at what our profit margins are. So I want you to do that immediately. And if you go to the show notes, I have a 1-hour masterclass that you can register for on demand right away, where when you watch the masterclass, you get my profits calculator for retreats. So this is immediately how you'll know that your retreat is profitable from the beginning. So let's move into this whole aspect of the retreat. And I want you to look at this from a place of potential and possibilities, and a place where you become a smarter business owner. You become a more dynamic leader, because it's all about leadership at the end of the day. You could change the word retreat for training, certification, transformational program. It's all about leadership. So I really want to focus on that first, because then everything spirals downward in a good way, right? Or maybe spirals upward. So when we look at mindset of leadership as a business owner, what happens? Well, number one, you're responsible. You're responsible for your results, meaning you know that you'll invest time into learning how to run an info session. You know you're going to invest time in creating your content for your social media. You know you're going to invest time and go into networking events where your ideal clients are. You know that you're going to reach out to people that might be great alliances for you. You know you're going to be a great leader because you might even spend marketing budget. You're going to build a nice funnel for your retreat. This all comes from you saying yes to the duties. And when I do my coaching inside Amplify, I call these GPAs: goals, projects, actions. So when we look at these three things, right? What is your goal? Maybe it's not a sold out retreat. Maybe it's a profitable retreat. And I really want you to look at that, because sometimes this whole like sold out, sold out, sold out, sold out, what does that do is that it puts so much pressure on us being like, I need 27 people to, right? No, let's look at profitability, because even if you make $2,000 profit, but you're having a great time at a beautiful location, even if it's local, guess what? You're winning. You're being profitable. And something that my husband said to me this morning, he was like, babe, you've never had a business that wasn't profitable, right? I was like, you're right. I have not had a business that, fell into the red. Even if like in the beginning there was some red, like it was profitable at the end, whether it was finished, closed, sold, whatever you want to look at it. Like the expo never went into the red. Retreats never went into the red. And this is what I want for you. So put on the profit lenses and the leadership lenses for this, because to do things correctly, you need to do the actions that are held within the projects. So looking at this GPA formula, goals. What's your goal? Profitable retreat, right? And if you want to put a number of attendees for this, guess what? You're going to need to know certain things. So in my profits calculator, which you get when you register for the Profitable Retreats workshop, you will know exactly how many people based on the venue costs. So you do need to do a little bit of research. There's venues, for example, that will cost you $300 a night, and there's venues that are going to cost you $1,000 a night. So it really depends your positioning for the retreat, right? Or the event. Insert the word for this, right? And you're going to need to know other costs associated, maybe plane tickets, meals, transportation. So these are like your basics that you don't want to forget about. Like even a videographer or content creator that comes and does, some footage of your retreat for you to then be able to market the next one, et cetera, et cetera. So now you've gotten a picture. We want profitability. We want leadership. And this leader inside you is saying yes to owning the responsibility to doing all these projects and actions that will lead you closer to your desired number. And I wish you could see like a little map here of all the things. I'm like the wizard of the whiteboard. Well, you know what? I'm going to draw it out. So if you catch this on YouTube, you'll be able to see this on my piece of paper, because my whiteboard is stuck in construction right now. So here's you, the leader. Yay. Okay. You're the leader and you want to go for profitability, right? And there's going to be certain things that you need, which is to know your numbers. So you're going to research a little bit on retreat centers, get some estimates, get some pricing. Basically they're like requests for RFPs, basically requests for proposals. So you're going to get some RFPs. Then you're also going to do any activities, okay? And extra costs, extras. This will give you your profitability number. Based on that, we say, all right, how big is my audience? I know 10 people. Right? That would come to this retreat. Obviously, we all know more than 10 people, especially if you're, again, consider yourself a professional. You've been doing this. You've been greasing your wheels. So you say, I have 10 potential people. Now, if we're working on, 5 to 10% enrollment rate, then you need more people to have a bigger profitability. Here's the thing. I've seen people have a profitable event because we set it up correctly on the back end with 3 people. It all depends on the pricing and the venue and your costs. That's literally it. It's like a P&L, profit and loss. So know your numbers and then know how many people are in your audience. Because here's the kicker. If let's say that you're planning this retreat for 6 months from now, okay? 6 months. How do we get to more people? So this goes part of your like goals, projects, and actions. Project is going to be called marketing for lead generation. So now we have a different lens on. We say, boom, I need to grow my list. I need to grow my leadership or authority in the industry. I need to, right? We start filling in those gaps so that instead of having 10 potential attendees, we have 20 or 30, because now we're in the mindset of lead generation. And when we're in the mindset of lead generation, new things happen. Our habits change. We know that visibility is important. We know that connections are important. We look at our business with business owner eyes versus working in my business or having a job that I really like. So when we have this whole like retreat planning or event planning or, certification, again, this is my trifecta, we start working backwards from that goal, right? This reverse engineering concept. For example, when we are saying marketing, I need to generate some leads. Well, what would I do? I would create a freebie that is connected to the retreat's theme, right? To the end goal, that big promise. I would start running some ads, or maybe, if you're not there yet, you can start doing organic sharing on socials, doing some podcast interviews, right? Just like growing that visibility and getting people to download this freebie. And if you're like, how do I even build this, Ari? Please reach out to me. This is what I do. This is how I mentor people, right? We create this digital ecosystem for you. So now we're getting people to come into this freebie, which is doing what? It's growing your database. I want to call it a Rolodex. I want to call it an email list. I want to call it so many things, but at the end of the day, it's your audience. And it's the audience that you own, that's not subject to algorithm. And if you are curious about email marketing, I've put a link to all my courses below so you can check out all my courses, which one of them is email marketing. So we're now growing our database, we're growing our audience, and we're growing potential customers. Because here's the thing, the minute people say yes to your thing, you are increasing your possibilities of them saying yes to the next thing. So what would I do after this lead magnet? I would probably put on some workshops, and workshops that are tied to the theme of your retreat. Maybe it's an aspect of it, maybe it's a piece of it, but that's what I would do from the free thing, or even your classes, right? Like start teaching some workshops, because now you have people that are paying you. So they're better leads, better quality. They're paying you to what? Learn from you. And now this is the second stepping stone. So we're creating a pathway from low ticket to high ticket, high transformation. I hope you're seeing this, right? Like if you close your eyes, you can see like little stepping stones, smaller, bigger, larger, big kahuna. So now these workshops, they're getting you in front of new people who are paying to learn from you. So what do? You start connecting with studios, you rent a space. Get creative here. And every single time you lead any of these types of workshops or classes, because you're growing your audience, you're growing people that want to keep learning from you, you're adding them to your list, you're making them follow you on social media, and you're doing call to actions for the retreat. Now, another thing I want you to consider is that because you are growing your list 6 months, 5 months, 8 months from your actual retreat date, you can't just, bet that this retreat is going to be your end all be all of revenue. So you're filling in your revenue through, again, these stepping stones, these ladders. And from this workshop, then what I would do is lead an intensive, a mini retreat, however you'd like to call it, a VIP day. But for the most part, an intensive can be a 3 to 4 hour or a full weekend of something, right? That is, again, connected to your end goal. So by doing this, you're now establishing a higher level of leadership, trust, connection, and credibility. And literally, this is exactly how I built a multiple 6-figure yoga business. I started teaching classes, then I started teaching workshops, and everything was very much in my sphere of, inversions, acro yoga. So it made sense for the workshop to be tied to the acro yoga retreat over New Year's in Nicaragua. And that retreat, we made so much money in that retreat, and it was so fun. And I think we only had like 15 people, but it was amazing, right? Because I got people that were coming to my immersions, that were coming to my classes, that were coming to my workshops. And then we got people that found it online because obviously we're doing good marketing around it. So this is what you want to be doing. You want to be setting yourself up for success by capturing new leads, right? You're doing it in marketing terms. It's called prospecting, but you're prospecting in a way that's giving you leadership and that's giving you authority. Now, these people who are saying, "Oh, I'm interested in the next thing," right? Then you keep growing this ecosystem. And every time that you position yourself as a workshop provider, as an immersion leader, right, eventually to get people into these higher tiered offerings, certifications, transformational programs, retreats, it becomes easier because you've built trust, you've built credibility, basically that what they say, the know, like, and trust factor. And honestly, like, I can't tell you guys how important it is to have this big vision in your scope, because if not, you're operating at a very fundamental level, which is good, but you're not adding layers to this. And, yesterday I was sitting with my client Paola, and we started looking at some, competitors or people that she emulates, okay, she looks up to. And she was like, I don't want to do everything that this person does, because this person had a YouTube channel, she had a podcast, she had this like big library full of courses. She's like, I don't want to do that. I was like, perfect. So now we know what you don't want to do. So what do you want to do? And then we broke down like her prenatal yoga training. We broke down like the workshops that she wants to lead. And she's like, that's good enough. Maybe in my next lifetime, I'll build this like very complicated business. She's like, right now I want to chill. I was like, perfect. So the big vision needs to match your goals, right? Goals and vision, so that you know what projects to do and what actions come with each of those projects. And I'll tell you right now that the biggest bottleneck of most business owners is creating this 3-part breakdown. Basically, what's the goal? Get really clear on that goal. It could be 2 or 3 goals. It could be like, this is my retreat goal, this is my online business goal, and this is my like personal finance goal, right? Each of those goals need to be broken down into projects, so you know exactly what you're doing. This is the bottleneck right here. It's from vision to action. Because if those projects aren't flushed out properly, for example, I just did this to my client Mark. I broke down every little thing we need to do to launch his online training and his certifications, from workshops to immersions to the trainings, and how that is a scalable business through content, through ads, all this stuff, right? I broke it down into projects, and each of those projects has a litany of actions. And we started saying, Ari does this, Mark does this, Mark does that, Ari does this, social media person does this. Because if you are in every single step, guess what? You're probably going to get stuck somewhere. Canva, you might get stuck there. Social media graphics or social media content planning, you might get stuck there. Building out the funnel, you might get stuck there. Sending the emails, you might get stuck there. So we need to know exactly what things need to happen for something to come into fruition. Updating your website with the retreat, you might get stuck there. So this is why it's so important to have somebody that's going to tell you, do this, do it like that, send this email, and we create a journey for your audience. We take them on this beautiful experience with you that keeps making them say, yes, I'm interested in this. Now I'm interested in that. And eventually leads them into your retreat. Because that, right, for this podcast, that was the goal. The retreat was the goal, the profitable retreat. And we're working backwards from there by doing marketing and sales, but in a way that is very much aligned to what you love to do, which is probably teach, educate, help people, right? Even if you're a service provider in the wellness industry, like this is the very clear pathway. For example, I have a good friend of mine and a client. She leads a lot of massage certifications, Thai massage to be precise, that are like yoga based. So very cool, very unique trainings for massage therapists and other yoga teachers. So what does she do? She teaches workshops. She'll then do like a short immersion, which leads people into the certification program. And it works really well. And it's like the snowball. If you guys have heard me talk about this, right? This one workshop will get people to join the next thing. And maybe they don't join the next thing, but they join the 2 things after that. And it's so beautiful to witness how you keep stacking, right? Stacking your audience, stacking your cash, so that when you have a higher ticket item or you have a high, what's it called? Like a commitment, high commitment program, like a retreat, then people are more willing to say yes. And honestly, like this is what I love to do. So I'm always here for you guys. Please reach out to me on Instagram. And then please subscribe and also rate this podcast for me because that means a lot. And I would love to see you on the next episode of Be Create Inspire. Have a great day and talk to you soon.